Nada, I did this video for you so you can see what's going on here. The installation went well, everything seems to be working, but probing and cutting seems to be an issue here. Okay, so we'll start off with the spindle. I bought the adapter from Amazon. It's a female male plug that plugs into the back of the spindle port socket back there. And I don't know if it's working or not, but you're supposed to leave the spindle on. I guess when you do a project, it will turn on the spindle, it will send the electricity to the spindle to turn on, but it's not doing that. The spindle stays on. So I have to manually turn it off and on. Okay, in regards to the probing, so we're gonna go to the probing here, and for some reason I had to set this to -5 in order for the probe to come down, in order for the spindle to come down. Okay, so if I go to terminal and then type in what you tell me to type in, $27 equals 5. Okay, I hit enter, and that took it. Okay, let's go back to the probing. So we're gonna probe now. I'm gonna put the alligator clip, plate that I have here. This is a test plate. This is 3.10 millimeter thickness. This is what I use for when I want to do the surface instead of using the big guy. So I'm using this guy for the surface here. Okay, so we're gonna do the probing. So we enter that $27 equals 5, and we have this here, and we're gonna run the probe test. Yeah, you can see that it actually broke the bit twice doing this. Okay, so it's showing that it made contact. It gives that error, G38.2 stop at contact, else error. I can remove the probe, and you can see a little bit. It's actually making a little bit of contact, but then this is not cut well. So yeah, so now it's there. Okay, so I go back over here and I load. Yeah, I did the it's not retreating back to -5 after entering that code that you told me. Here is set to millimeters, x-axis. All this is set here. So I'm gonna bring up the file, the test file that I have, and this is here. Okay, so for some reason we'll go to the G-code editor for me, and we're gonna open up all the files. I tried to run this already once, and it did not touch the surface to cut whatsoever. It just stood 10 meters above from the surface. So after looking over these G codes and doing reference from others, it turns out to be that I have to change this to what I want to cut down to, -8. And then that's the first one, and then on the for the circle cut, when it does the circle, I have to also change this to -8, and then come down to the next cut, and here it says I have to change this to -8 for the cut where it comes down, and then here again the same thing, change this to -8. I don't know if I'm doing this right. It's different when I do it on the systems that I work with. We don't go through it's in a different it's actually in the cam that we actually do it. We don't do it inside the system. All we do is just set the probe down and does the testing, and it does everything itself. Okay, so we're gonna come to the third circle and change that to -8, and then on the cut we're going to change that to -8. Okay, so everything looks perfect. So let's see if it actually cuts this. Okay, I already probed it, so it's at home right now. I have to turn on the spindle because it doesn't turn on the spindle. I'm not sure if the relay in the back is working or not. So we'll start the project. Okay, so this time it's actually cutting it right. Prior before, when I did this, you can see the 3 cuts. That's what it was doing previously before. So it looks now it's actually completing the 3 circles. Okay. Okay, so it looks like it completed the cuts. Let me get a brush to clean off the surface. Hang on. Okay. So, that's this later. So I did complete it. The 3 cuts. I actually did. Complete the 3 cuts. So I just want to look in here. It's just chips. Yeah, so I did complete all 3 cuts. So when I tried this the first time, you know, it actually complete. It just needs to be sent out in order to see the cut. When I tried this the first time, this is what I got. It goes around. It didn't cut, but it just did the cut here. When it got to the second circle, it did the cut here. Then when it got to the third circle, it did the cut here. And this is because I started looking at the G-code and I kind of noticed something weird about the G-code. So again, I'll go back to the G-code. And the reason why the first one cut came out like this and the second one came out exactly what I wanted is because in the beginning is here, this was saying 0. And then this one was saying 0. And then for the second circle, this one was saying 0. The third circle was saying 0. And then for the third cut, this was saying 0, and over here was saying 0. So after carefully looking over the G codes and references to another project I had, that's when I realized, wait a minute, it's not cutting because this doesn't have the proper depth cut. So I changed the first one here to -8, and then when it goes to make the first circle, I changed that to -8 for the cut. When it goes to the second circle to make the cut, I also changed it again here, -8. It originally was 0. And over here, this was originally 0, so I changed it to -8. Didn't touch any of the G codes. So on the third cut, again, I did the -8. And then to come down to -8 to complete the cut. And then on the circle cut, -8. And as you can see, this time it actually worked. Why it didn't work the first time that I did it, like I said, when I brought up the G code, all the areas that I changed was saying 0. So that's how I realized that it wasn't coming down or cutting. So I think we got that out of the way. Now the other thing is just about the probing. I'm not sure why is not retrieving back even after we enter the command. Again, here where it says probing, your information, this is set to go, but if I change this back to 0, it doesn't come down. It actually goes up, and it doesn't complete its contact. So I had to put it to minus for the spindle to come down. So right now that's in the probe. In the control, idle P, I don't know because there's no contact. So it's saying idle P. I'm not sure if it's looking for something. Well, actually, it was my touch plate was actually touching. That's why. Okay, so it was my touch plate. Okay, so it seems everything working here except for the probing. If there's anything that you could help me with this or give me some more information, I'll be glad to appreciate the help. So after playing around with it for about an hour or so, I finally managed to do this small, sample that I did here with 3 cuts. And now I know that it's actually working. Now I know that when I generate what I need to do, is I'm learning how to use this. Is when I actually do the planner that I'm planning to do, where in this section is where you actually when this generates the G code, where do you tell it about Z and the depth that you want it to cut, like this information, because when it comes from here, everything comes set to 0 in all this. So when I generate my project, I was carefully going over the software, and I was trying to figure out where is it that you set your depth cut, so that the G code information is sent and I don't have to go into here into the editor and make the changes, because if there's 1,000 codes in here, that would be a headache to try to change that. So if there's anything if there a link to a tutorial on how to use this software, I mean, I was looking for it, I couldn't find anything. I seen other people explaining about it, but they don't get into the detail about depth cut and length of cut and so on for Z cutting, for Z itself. So I appreciate it if you could feed me some information on this, and help me to resolve the issue with the probing. I mean, it's working. You can see it's working. It's just that when you probe, it does not retrieve. It just stays there at 0.01. Sometimes when I do the probing, it will say an error contact, but as you can see, this is the contact that we get. If I click down, that's the last one. The last one is what we did. The first one, it actually did make the contact, but it did not retrieve. The fourth one, it did the same thing. The first one is number 5 is when I did it, and I kind of moved it by mistake, and that's when I moved this by mistake with the cable out of place. So and then the third time I did it, it actually made contact, and then on the video I'm editing right now, I did it and it gave me let me get off right. When I did the video showing you the test, this is the error the last error that it gave me. So if there's anything that you have that could help me resolve this, I appreciate it. Thanks. By the way, great machine.